everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I'm in my sunroom today. We are still snowed in. So in this video, I'm gonna do two things. One, give you an update on what's been happening this week on the farm. And then two, we're gonna talk about a video that I had been planning for months. And I'm gonna talk about that topic, but with a twist. So the premise of the video is to talk about things that I feel like you should have in your pantry, like some household staples that you should always have as you're building your pantry, things that you never wanna be without. And the idea came about after the pandemic, after I started YouTube and really trying to build a homesteading type lifestyle. That's where the idea came. It's been on my video list to talk about as an option for probably almost a year, and I haven't done it. This particular week, now that we're snowed in, I thought, oh, well, I can't do much outside. I'll pull one of the topics that's kind of like more inside and do that. But I'll tell you, in the last 48 hours or so, I almost chickened out because I'm like, I should have talked about this months ago because I'm not the person to talk about this. And the Holy Spirit really impressed me to go ahead and do the video. And I hate to say pushback, but y'all know, well, maybe you don't know, because maybe it's just me. You know how the Holy Spirit can talk to you. You're just like, but no, I don't know about that. The Holy Spirit is always right, okay? But I was saying in my mind to the Holy Spirit, like, I'm not the one to talk about this because some of the stuff I'm gonna talk about is stuff that I haven't done. And the Holy Spirit's like, that's exactly why you need to talk about it. One, get yourself in order, but two, you can help somebody else, okay? So let me just kind of bring you forward. So for those that are brand new to me, we live in Tennessee. We're in Zone 7B. We live on a 75 plus acre property. We've been here for 4 years. And prior to getting here, I worked an executive corporate job. I was in executive leadership and grew up in the city. I knew nothing about country living. I knew nothing about farming, gardening, homesteading. Didn't even know what homesteading was, right? So that is my background. And a lot of that is still true, right? I am figuring it out as I go along. But I say all that to say this, is that moving from the city to the country was a big ordeal, right? It's just a different lifestyle. And so just to kind of paint a picture, when I lived in the city, working a corporate job, I went to the grocery store once a week. And really, I would say before I moved here, probably 3 or 4 years before I moved here, I was having my groceries delivered through Shipt, right? So Shipt, Instacart, is kind of like the same thing. It's a grocery delivery service. So I would place my order on the phone and they would show up at my doorstep and deliver my groceries. I didn't have to go to the grocery store. And that was more convenient from a time perspective, but it was also cheaper because, when you go in the store, you get everything that's on your list and then the stuff that's not on your list because you can see it. Versus if you make a list and you send it in for somebody that shop for you, they're just gonna get what's on your list. So it actually was cheaper for me and more convenient. But even if I didn't get groceries delivered, there was a grocery store that I love, Publix, that was 5 minutes from my house. I live right next to a major interstate. It was 5 minutes from my house. So talk about convenience, it was convenience, right? And so then we moved to the country and I thought that I bought in bulk when I lived in the city. And so bulk to me was, I made sure, that we probably had an extra big pack of toilet tissue, right? I bought the big thing of oatmeal, instead of the small canister, I bought the big canister. That was my purview of what I thought bulk buying was. We moved to the country in 2019. The pandemic happens in March 2020. I quickly, so remember now, we moved in the summer of 2019. I had only been in the country for right at 7 months or so before the pandemic happened. So I'm new to the country. I'm new to this whole, I don't go to the grocery store every week. Like I can, there's a Walmart 25 minutes from my house. So I'm not so far out that I'm not close to a Walmart. But if you've been watching me, I don't like Walmart. I detest Walmart. So I will drive 45 minutes to go to the grocery stores that I like. I still go to Walmart, but okay, let me focus. So I've been here 6-7 months, getting used to, okay, Walmart is 25 minutes away instead of 5 minutes away. And oh man, I need to buy more in bulk. Okay. The pandemic hit and I quickly realized that what I thought was bulk buying was not bulk buying. I was ill prepared, okay? Ill prepared. Like I was panicking because I couldn't find toilet tissue, like all the things, right? And so I determined in my heart and mind that if that were to happen again, I was gonna be in a better situation, and I was really gonna truly focus on bulk buying, okay? So that was 2020. Now we're at 2024. And so I feel like I have made strides a lot. I started ordering from Azure Standard. You guys have seen my Azure Standard hauls. If not, go to my Azure Standard playlist. I'll try to pop that up here. So you've seen me buy things in bulk, right? I have a root cellar. I've put, things in place. Well, let's bring it forward. So, oh, that's the heater coming on in here. I was like, I heard a noise. So let's bring it forward. So it is now, when I'm recording this video, like when you see it, I'm recording it the same day. So it'll go out today. But we've been in the house now for 6 days. We've been in the house since Sunday. Snowed in, right? And originally, on the original forecast, I thought we would be snowed in, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days at the most. I thought by like Thursday, we'd be good to go, rocking and rolling. Well, it actually snowed again this morning, and the temperatures are still going down. There doesn't seem to be a break in sight, at least for the next 72 hours, right? So we're snowed in. So I did a grocery store order Sunday before we got snowed in, just to kind of like, we're good for like 3 or 4 days. Like we're good. It's not a big deal. But let me just get some extra stuff, just to be on the safe side. Glad I did, okay? So fast forward to now, we lost water 24 hours ago. Our water has been off for 24 hours. And it's a challenge, to say the least. So now we're still snowed into the house. And when people at home, they eating you out of house and home. So I'm feeding 4 people around the clock, right? Cleaning up after 4 people around the clock. You know how it goes. And now we don't have water. So at the time of this video, we've been 24 hours without water, and we still don't have water. So I've had to be creative. And the Lord has provided, like he always does, right? So one of our neighbors actually brought us water today. So as we speak right now, I have, I think, 8 to 10 jugs of water or containers on my counter, right? So we definitely have enough water to get through the weekend, like to cook, and do all the things. And then my husband is going to get more water. He was able to make it finally out of the driveway. One of his friends has an all-wheel drive truck, and they came up here. So that has been a blessing. But what I want to talk about are the things that you need to make sure that you always have in your pantry. So household staples. And I made a list, and I'm going to tell you how these things have really come in handy since we've been snowed in. And we've been able to eat really, really well. Like your girl has been in the kitchen. I hadn't had the video on just because I got, people at my house and stuff like that. And I like to record when I'm by myself. I don't like to record when there's a lot of people in the house. But anyway, your girl's been cooking some new recipes. Like I made cookies, I made cookie dough. I did this new recipe with some burrito bowls with this sauce. Like your girl been doing it, okay? My husband's like, let the blizzard come, because this chick is throwing down in the kitchen, okay? So we have been eating well. That hasn't been an issue, but I'm now starting, we're 6 days in, and I feel like we can definitely make it 1 more week eating really, really well. After that, we can still eat. It would just be way more basic. Beans and rice. We wouldn't starve by no stretch of the imagination. We're still good. But let's talk about some things that I feel like should be, as a household staple, pantry. And the purpose of this is I want you to take inventory, right? Add in what you think I missed. Also evaluate, do I have enough of that? Do I buy that in bulk? Whether you live in the city, the country, the suburbs, wherever you live, I want you to think about if for some reason you were snowed in for a week or 2 and you could not get to the store. would your family be okay to survive? How long could you make it, right? And I heard this statistic. I want to say it was on another homesteader's video. It was a few weeks ago, but they said that they read a statistic somewhere that says that the average person, American or something like that, has less than a week's worth of food or something in their pantry, refrigerator, in their house. Y'all, that is startling. That is startling, okay? Because if that is truly the case, now, a lot of people knew the weather was coming, so of course, what do? They flood to the grocery store. They flood it. But what happens when you don't know what's coming, like a pandemic, right? Or somebody loses a job or whatever the case may be. So I want you to think about if you were snowed in for a week or two, with what you have in your house right now, could y'all eat well? Could you eat? Are you gonna starve, right? Let me know in the comments. Then I want you to also think about if you were snowed in, stuck, sequestered, whatever, for 2 weeks, and you had no water, what would you do? Then, if you were stuck for 2 weeks, and you had no power, what would you do, right? These are all real questions. And again, I don't talk about this a lot, but it's ever present in my mind, and it's really present now in this situation. I wouldn't call this a disaster because look, I'm still in a nice home and we still have power and we still have heat as we speak, and I'm thankful for it. We don't have water, right? But at any moment the power can go out. Then what? So let me kind of go through 9 or 10 things that I came up with that I feel like you should just buy in bulk and have in your house. And I apologize in advance if it feels like I'm all over the place. I feel like I'm all over the place because I got a lot of thoughts in my head that I want to get out. And it's not my typical video where I try to be very organized and, boom, 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 boom. I feel like I'm just rambling, but I hope that in my ramble, it makes sense, okay? So number one thing that's on my list is flour, making sure that you have flour, because with flour you can do a lot of things. Now y'all know I done made 3 loaves of bread this week and we're down to our last half loaf, so I gotta make some more bread. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done today, but by God's grace, if things are well tomorrow, that I can make some tomorrow evening, okay? Provided. But before we had that extra water that came this morning, I was trying to strategize about the use of water, what I was cooking that needed water versus what didn't. So bread was kind of like, we still got bread. Instead of y'all having 15 slices a day, let's get 5, okay? So I was strategizing the bread intake before I knew, do I have enough water or do I want to use my water to make more bread, if that makes sense, okay? So flour. Right, and so right now in my pantry, when I'm calling my pantry, is in my house as well as in my root cellar. I have bread flour, all-purpose flour, whole wheat flour, pastry flour, right? Now, what I discovered this week is that I do not have as much all-purpose flour as I thought I did. I discovered that right when we got snowed in, the flour that I like. I do have some all-purpose flour. It's not the brand that I like, so can I make some stuff? I can, but it's not ideally what I want. And I had placed an order for flour, but guess what? It's delayed because we snowed in and ain't nobody, we just got mail today for the first time in 5 days, all week long. So that just goes to show you what's going on in this little town. But flour is something, because I do have flour, I was able to make bread. I can make rolls, I could make waffles, I could make pancakes, I could make cornbread, biscuits, right? So I have some biscuits, that I've gotten like from the grocery store that's, frozen in a bag or whatever. But if those run out, I can make my own biscuits because I have flour. So flour is an essential ingredient to buy. I would say buy by the 25-pound or 50-pound bags. If you have a family enough of that size, okay? So flour is number one. The second thing I have on my list are sweeteners, and everybody uses a different type of sweetener. So when I say sweeteners, I mean anything in the realm of sugar, maple syrup, honey, agave, stevia, whatever you use to sweeten your stuff with, right? make sure that you have that in abundance, because again, you can do a lot of things with that. You get some flour, you got your sweetener, you know, you can make some things happen, right? So whatever sweeteners that you use, I just named off a couple, make sure that you have that in stock. And now for me, I keep a lot of honey because I make bread a lot. So again, that's a good thing that I have it on hand, okay? Number 3 is grains. And so that is rice, that could be oatmeal or oats, not oatmeal, but oats, and pasta, right? And again, whatever I'm forgetting, you guys put it down in the comments. But with grains and keeping that on hand, then that gives you the ability to make a dish. You can make a rice dish, right? A pasta dish. And again, if you have some olive oil and some pasta noodles and some dried herbs, I mean, worst comes to worst, you can make you some pasta, drizzle with some oil and some herbs and a little salt. That can be a meal, right? You may consider it a poor man's meal, but it's a meal, right? If you have that with oats, you can make oatmeal. You can even make oatmeal cookies, right? And then rice, all different kinds of rice. So we have brown rice, we have white rice, we have jasmine rice, and we have basmati rice. That's what I have currently, you know, just in my pantry, so to speak. So we got plenty of rice. And like I told you, this week I made a burrito bowl. And the family, they loved my husband, he loved it. I had never done that before. So again, that was easy for me to pull together because I had rice in abundance, right? I had black beans that I canned. I remember I canned, well, I don't think I did a video, but I had canned like 25 jars of black beans about a month ago. So I used, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those jars for black beans. We had like some a soy protein that we used, and then I had lettuce from the garden that I had already brought in, and then I made this jalapeno type sauce to drizzle over it, and then we had some other, you know, condiments and stuff like that. But that made a whole meal, and that was a whole meal for 2 days, right? So typically what I probably would have made was like an enchilada or tacos, okay? Well, that would have been more ingredients, because with enchiladas, you gotta have a cheese or cheese sauce and enchilada sauce and all that. So that was gonna be in flour tortillas or corn tortillas. So I have flour tortillas, but that was gonna be a little bit more involved versus cooking a pot of rice, opening up a jar of beans, bam, we in there. I had lettuce, I had peppers, of course, from the garden, that's frozen, onions, garlic, like all of that was just sauteed up together with some protein like chicken strips, and it was like bomb.com, okay? So grains, so flour, sweeteners, grains. The next thing are beans, right? Having a variety of beans. So remember I told you that, you know, we can make it and eat well for the next week. Probably on week 3, the meals are gonna get less interesting, right? But we can have beans and rice for a long time because I got plenty of beans, red kidney beans, pinto beans, black beans, lentils, black-eyed peas, like anything in the bean category. Like I got beans for days. And so I ask you, do you have dried beans? Because that's something that's easy to store, right? Easy to store, right? And I know somebody may say, well, Barbara, I don't have a root cellar, or I don't have a lot of space in my house, so I don't buy a lot of stuff because I can't store it. One of the things to think about, and again, I don't know your spacing, but one of the things to think about is, are you utilizing every closet? What about under your beds, you know, in a room somewhere in a box, especially like stuff like dried beans, things that are not perishable or whatever, can be easy to store if you have a garage or a basement or something like that. So again, everybody's situation is different. The whole thing is do what you can, you know, and whatever you're doing today, can you take it up one more level, right? Can you buy one more pack if your budget will allow for that? And just be thinking in that mindset, okay? Remember I said this video is not to shame, it's not to judge, it's not to push anybody to do something you don't want to do. It's really for you to think about, do I have these things? And what would happen if I was in a situation where I was stuck and I couldn't get to the store? Am I self-sufficient? Am I independent as much as possible, right? Okay, so we got flour, we got sweeteners, we got grains, we got beans. Next, oils, right? if you use oil, then you want to keep some oil on hand. So whether that's avocado oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, whatever kind of oil you use, right? You can use things like that. Now, other people, again, I also put in that same category, butters, right? Or some people for that eat meat, you know, they do the lard or the tallow or whatever, like all of that stuff, whatever you render, whatever you buy, whatever you use today to use oil for things to not stick or whatever you use it for, then make sure that you have that stuff in that category in some sort of abundance, okay? So that you can still kind of do what you need to do. The next category would be like protein, meat sources. So for those that eat meat, and a lot of you that are homesteading, you may have livestock on your property. We don't have any livestock. We don't eat meat or whatever. So we don't have any livestock. But if I ate meat and I had livestock, obviously my freezers would be full of that kind of stuff, right? So whatever protein sources you use. So if you use like a soy protein, if you use a lot of tofu, if you use a lot of soy crumble, like whatever, or if it's chicken, fish, beef, whatever it is you eat, make sure that you have that type of stuff. Whatever you're using for like a meat type protein, make sure that you have that stuff in abundance, okay? The next thing is I put under the category of like binders. So that could be eggs. If you don't use eggs, like flaxseed, or just egg varieties, or egg replacer. So there's many different kind of people that watch. So whatever you use to bind your stuff now, your cookies, your cakes, whatever it is, I just kind of put that all in the same category, right? And like I said, if you have other suggestions, put them down below. The next thing is bread, or the ability to make bread, right? So if you have the ability to make bread, you know, maybe already having a couple of loaves in your freezer that's just already made up, right? I happen to have a loaf in my freezer that I was able to pull out, so that saved me, right? And so we've had access to like 4 loaves of bread this week, and they've been killing it, because bread can be used for toast in the morning. It can be used for sandwiches. It can be used as garlic bread. Even though it's sandwich bread, you put you some butter and some garlic. It can be used in many different ways, and bread can be filling as well. When the bread gets old or if it gets stale, then you can turn that into croutons or breadcrumbs, right? So bread is good. Also like milk. So whatever source of milk, you know, whether you're using animal milk or you're using like a soy milk, an almond milk, rice milk, whatever type of milk, whatever thing you use, right? And then for me, do you know how to make milk, right? So I buy a lot of almond milk, I buy a lot of soy milk, but I actually have a machine, and I have a video where I showed you my machine and how I make milk. Now, I haven't made milk in a long time, but I have the stuff in my root cellar to make milk, and I have the machine. When I say machine, that's even to me too big of a word for it. It's like almost like a canister jug. I'll try to link the video up here. There's a video that I did about it. The machine, that's the only thing I know to call it. It is phenomenal, okay? Phenomenal. I've had it for probably 3 years by now. And so push come to shove, if we run out of milk, right now we're still good. We probably can make it another week and a half. But if for some reason we're not good, I have almonds, right? And I can go out there to get the almonds, and I can make almond milk. I have rice, I can make rice milk, right? And I have soybeans, and I can make soy milk, right? And I got things to sweeten it with. So on that end, I'm covered. Now, if you don't have a machine, if you don't know how to make milk, because I think you can even do it in a Vitamix too. But if you don't know how to do all that, and you don't want to do all that, then make sure that you got something, whatever you need, whatever you buy, have it in abundance, right? But keep in mind, now it's only gonna last for so long. So that's, you know, with a caveat. The next thing is having food in a variety of ways. I had not thought about that, and that was not on my original list until this week. And here's what I mean by that, is having food that is fresh in your house. So fresh fruit, fresh citrus, fresh herbs, fresh vegetables, right? So having things that are fresh, because obviously you can use that stuff up first, and you just want, fresh is always better. So out of the garden, I have kale, I have spinach, and I have lettuce and cabbage right now, and cilantro that I could eat right now, and parsley, fresh, right? I had, I think, 1 lemon and 1 lime at the beginning of the week. Those 2 are gone, right? Excuse me. I have been keeping, excuse me, I have been keeping a bag of lemons because I've been juicing. But I had used all my lemons and I was only down to 1, and that was not on my grocery store list when I ran to the grocery store on Sunday, right? So that's one thing that I have missed, is not having that. But I like use the lime for my burrito bowls, you know, cilantro, lime, rice. Yes, yes, yes. Did that. But I'm and I'm down to, I think, 1 orange left. So I had a bag of oranges. So, and I'm down to, let me see, there's probably 5 or 6 apples in there, but that's a variety of way, is having it fresh. Then you want to have some things that are frozen, right? So you want to have some individual ingredients that are frozen, but you also want to have some frozen meals. And this right here this week has encouraged me, is pushing me over the edge to start doing more intentional freezer meals. Let me tell you why that's important and why that came up this week. I had some things, I had, I think, 2 or 3 meals in the freezer, but it was more of, I had cooked something, it was leftovers, and I froze it, right? So lasagna is one. I made lasagna last weekend. I had some left over and I froze it, and lasagna freezes beautifully. So we will be having that lasagna, okay? So that's easy. All I gotta do is pull it out and unthaw it, right? I don't have to cook it. That has been a game changer. I had some other meals that I was able to just take out the freezer and unthaw it. Why is that important? It is important because I didn't have to make it, right? I didn't have to spend time trying to come up with all the ingredients. It was already done. So I don't normally do freezer meals intentionally. It's been on my mind to do, but you best believe you're gonna start seeing some videos of me doing some freezer meals. My girl Becky over at Acre Homestead, she is like the GOAT on the freezer meals. And I watch her and I'm like, I just like, how you do that? That's all right, I'm gonna learn. I'm about to do it. So having it fresh, having it frozen ingredients, and then having frozen meals. Also dehydrated. If you had dehydrated fruit, right? You could put it in your cereal, you could put it in your granola, you could have it as a snack. So it's a different way, and the dehydration, you know, you can have it sealed. It can last, 6 months to a year. And then having things that are canned, right? So remember I told you about my burrito bowl, I had canned beans that I had already canned. Also, y'all, I love lemonade. That's like my favorite drink. I love lemonade, right? So I have lemonade, and I'm down to like, I could probably make, if it was just me drinking it, I could make it probably another week. But with other folks in the house trying to drink my lemonade, it might only last 3 or 4 more days. But guess what? Do y'all remember that canned strawberry lemonade I did? I did a video on that too. I'll pop it up here. When I tell y'all that stuff is so good. And when I tell y'all it is coming in hand, so I got, I think, 4, don't tell nobody. I think I got 4 jars left for, so if push came to shove, now remember lemonade and juice is not an essential item, but if we're gonna be snowed in and we want something cold to drink, I got lemonade, y'all, because I canned it. How about that? And you better believe when strawberry season come in April, your girl is getting bushel after bushel after bushel. And I still have 1 last gallon size bag of strawberries in my freezer. Strawberry season is in April, so I only have 3 more months. And so I'm saving that bag because I'm like, do I make strawberry jelly or do I make more strawberry lemonade? And I'm just on the fence trying to see, can I make the current strawberry lemonade I have last? If so, then I'll make strawberry jelly. If I can't, then I'll make more strawberry lemonade. So I got strawberry lemonade already made, plus I got a gallon of strawberries in my freezer that I can turn into jelly or lemonade. Okay, but like canned sauces, right? So like my spaghetti sauce that I made, I could make spaghetti with that. I could make lasagna with that, right? one other thing that was on my list this week was to can some more beans so that I could do like chili. Because the last set of chili that I did, I had to buy beans from the store because it was more of a convenience. I was making it that night. But I'm like, I ain't doing that no more. I'm gonna have my own beans because I got plenty of beans. I had brought my beans in from the root cellar, and I was gonna can them this week. And I was gonna can them, and I was gonna make more bread, English muffins, all the things. That was on Thursday. We lost our water on Thursday morning, so didn't get a chance to do that. But I got plenty of black beans canned. But you best believe I'm gonna kick it up one more notch once we get past this, by God's grace. I'm gonna try to get me some freezer meals and some more canning done. But basically the premise is what I'm saying on this one is having food in a variety of sources, in a variety of ways. Frozen, fresh, dehydrated, canned, freeze dried, whatever you got, have it in a variety of ways, okay? So I feel like this is getting long. Here's my heart. My heart is saying this, is think about your situation. Think about what you have, and wherever you are is not wrong. It's just where you are today, right? And if you want to do better, then just figure out what area or areas do I want to do better in? Do I want to have more water? Do I want to have more flour? Do I want to have more rice? What can I afford, right? Get on your knees and pray and ask the Lord, and He will point you in the right direction. He will provide. I really believe that. So it has been challenging not having water. And so here's where we missed, right? Is that we didn't plan to not have water, right? I don't want to say we were smart. If we would have been prepared, we would have already had buckets of water, right? At least 2 or 3 buckets, so that as soon as we lost water, we weren't panicked like, oh my gosh, we don't have any water. Okay, did the Lord still provide? Yes, He is still providing, right? If we were even more prepared, we would be on a well and not be on city water. If we were even more prepared, we would have a rain barrel. Y'all, I have a rain barrel that I bought 2 years ago. It's been sitting in my garage that my husband hasn't hooked up, that we haven't done. One of those, and then I wanted to buy one of those 55-gallon water, not 55-gallon, but it's like a huge water tank. I wanted to buy one when we first moved out here. The price was, it seemed high at the time, but right now that price sounds real affordable because they have tripled the price. Here's my point, is that preparation is important. Now, you may be one of those people that's like, we don't have to prepare. It's gonna all be all right. If so, this is not for you, okay? My heart is saying, I know that it's best to prepare. I also know that I can pray, right? But I do believe that the Lord expects me to do my part. I'm not gonna get into a debate with you about that. Here's my heart. Whatever good you can find from this video, find it. Whatever parts that don't apply to you, toss it out the window. But if it can help one person to just put more in their pantry, to think about it a different way, to like, you know what, I hadn't thought about that. Let me, add that to my list, right? Let me get some buckets of water just in case my water goes out. Because you may be real cozy right now, you may be real warm, but that can change in an instant, right? Right now we have power, but I'll tell you, like living in the South, when you have these heat pumps, they're not designed to heat your house when it's 0 degrees outside. Now in the North, in places that get cold all the time, y'all got some different systems set up. Y'all may be on gas and all that, but the electricity, but we have a wood burning stove. So if we did lose our power, we can still be warm. We'd be all huddled up in the same part of the house, but we could be warm, right? And I could probably heat up some beans on top of the wood stove, even though that's not what it's designed for. But I think it's important to think about those things before they happen. And whatever you can do to prepare now, then do that, right? So I feel like I've given out a lot of information, and I feel like I've just kind of went on and on. I hope that you get my intention. My intention was just to share with you, one, this is how we're faring, and no water. Here's some things that have really come in handy this week. And again, I was already gonna do this video anyway about household staples. And so I've kind of just blended it all together. Here is the message. Do what you can. Do what feels good for you and your family. And make sure that you feel comfortable that if in a situation where you didn't have water, you didn't have power, you were snowed in, stuck, sequestered, whatever the case may be, you and your family would be taken care of for at least some period of time. That's the whole point of the whole message. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're warm. I hope that you're fed. I hope that you have water, right? When you think about us, please say a prayer for us that our water will return soon. Right now, it ain't looking too good. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. I know that I serve a God that will supply all of our needs. That's what his word says, and that is what I'm going to trust. So is it uncomfortable? Yes, uncomfortable. But I have so many things that I can still be grateful for. And one of them is you. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for going along with me on my journey and where I am. Fast forward a year from now, I may be in a different place. Just like in 2020, I certainly was not in this place and had this level of stuff where I could last and felt more comfortable. So I have grown, and that's what you do on your journey. You keep growing, you keep learning, you keep experimenting and doing what's best for you. Remember, this is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time.